This light is bad. Hello, family. Good evening. The light is bad here. Greetings, family. Greetings. This is Dr. Kia, and this is still Saturday, December the 10th, 2022, and the time is 10 o'clock p.m. We just had a broadcast a few minutes ago, but my internet was very bad. So the internet was bad, the internet was choppy, and you all probably couldn't hear me well. But people had questions for me, and because my internet was so choppy and I wasn't actually live, I couldn't address your questions, but I wanted to come back on and say hello and answer your questions. Keep doing what you're doing. You're moving in God's path. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. So the last broadcast that we just did, actually, it wasn't a live. Hello, it was a broadcast that I had just recorded and I uploaded it as a premiere. So it looked like it was live, but it wasn't live. So when you all were trying to ask me questions, I couldn't ask you questions because it wasn't a live broadcast. It was actually a recorded podcast. So again, my internet was acting up inside the house. So I decided to come outside. I am in my car so that I can answer any of your questions. Hello, family. Check in. Hi, this is Dr. Kia Pruitt. Again, it's December the 10th. It's 10 o'clock p.m. and I'm in my car here so I can answer all your questions. So when do we think time frame will be to redeem? And is it tied with the cryptocurrencies, in my opinion? I think the time to redeem is coming very, very quickly. And I would tell you that the reason is because we always heard that when our republic has been restored and when there has been an announcement, whether it's covert or overt, which means whether it's secretively or openly, when it's announced that we are on the gold standard and there's been a global currency reset, basically meaning that everybody has returned to gold, that's when we will know it's time to go and turn in our currencies, redeem our currencies. So we know it looks like the republic has been restored because we see certain things happening. We see certain cases being brought up against people who did something to the elections in 2020. And I have to be careful what I say because y'all know I was banned for 2 weeks and I couldn't speak, I couldn't upload, I couldn't do anything live on YouTube. So I have to be careful. But we saw certain cases come forward, like 20 that like the one at the Supreme Court. I think the case number is 22-380. You can look that up on your own time. That came forward. Um, all these countries are leaving the United States dollar. They left along with BRICS to form a union called BRICS Plus, and they are returning to gold. Ghana made an announcement that they are now trading gold for oil. China on December 8th just met with Saudi Arabia to talk about trade deals. Uh, all these nations that I announced yesterday and even today have left the United States hegemony and left the USD. So I think the time frame is very, very soon that we will revalue our currencies or redeem our ZIM note and our currencies. Is it tied to cryptocurrencies? I don't know the answer to that question. Yes, buy to the IRS. As a matter of fact, the headquarter building of the IRS, the ISO GOAT, the headquarters of the IRS building is vacant, as well as the FBI building in DC. Those buildings are vacant. So yes, goodbye to them both. Um, I don't know much about cryptocurrencies, I have to say, because I studied it, but because I can't hold it in my hand, I'm not as big or bullish on cryptos as I am with the foreign currencies. So somebody said reset means revaluation. Yes. So you guys might have to encourage each other about cryptocurrencies. I don't know much about cryptocurrencies. Now, hi, Joanne. In terms of the Zimbabwe note, the Zimbabwe note is actually a government bond. It's printed on bond paper, and if you look at the top left-hand corner, it will say, "This this is, I promise to pay the holder upon demand." So it is a promise by the government, the Zimbabwean government, to pay you upon demand. So you will redeem the Zimbabwe note. Which one should you get? 2008 to 2009 version, AA or AB version. So the money people say crypto is going to zero. I've heard the same thing. I heard that the crypto would go to zero. So if you do have cryptocurrencies, then what I've always heard is that you put it into your own possession by getting a nano ledger and transferring money from your cryptos from a wallet into the nano ledger so that it can be in your own possession. So everything you want to have should be in your possession. You could lose everything. I've heard people forgetting their password. I've heard of people, so then they lost everything, thousands of dollars. I've heard of people having their cryptocurrencies hacked. So all kind of things can happen. I don't have much. I only got a little bit because I wanted to diversify my portfolio, but because I didn't fully understand it, I didn't get any. So let me say a few things before I answer any more questions. I want to thank these people who contributed to my podcast and supported my work. I thank all of you because without you, I would not be here. You give me energy, you give me love, you give me joy, peace, you give me a sense of family. So thank you. On the last broadcast, Matthew De Gregorio gave an offering and a donation, and I wasn't able to say thank you because it wasn't live. Thank you, Matthew De Gregorio. Also, thank you, Jacqueline, I think is it Bridges? I can't. Excuse me, Sister Jacqueline. I can't read my writing. Sister Jacqueline Bridges, G. Burrell. I think that's your twin sister. Brother Akeem Calendar, Brother Willie Sims, Osiris with the Z at the end, Debbie Sumlin, Heather Huggins L, Leonard Lassiter Bay, Christina Smith, I think it is. My sister Sheree, that's my blood sister. Rodney McGrone, um, Lawrence Jordan, you know who you are. He goes by Taj, and all of you who have given me donations and sent me letters and PayPal and super chats and super sticker and Cash App. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. You don't have to do that. You don't even have to be here. So I thank you for being here to share with me. I love you all so much. And as I said before, those last 2 weeks that I couldn't upload meant that I wasn't getting paid for because I wasn't producing. But God is good because you all still sent me donations. So thank you so much. I just wanted to take that time out to let you know I appreciate you. And I'm so glad, Sister Betty, that you found me a month ago because my purpose is to raise the vibrations of the planet and to encourage my soul family and to also help you all plan for the future. Now, there were some questions that were put forward to me, and yesterday, I mean, earlier today, today's broadcast. Speaking of Elon, you say he's not making anything. He's at Gitmo. The character that's playing Elon, he bought Twitter. There are also talks about him buying up YouTube. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. If the character buys YouTube, because I don't know if that means, now we'll be able to speak freely, or I don't know if that's a bad thing because that person might have too much power. Brother Terrence, what about the Iraqi dinar? Recently, the Iraqi premier made a huge announcement that he was revaluing the Iraqi dinar against the United States dollar. This was either October or November, I can't remember. What he said was that the former government before him was fully corrupt and that they allowed the dinar to lose its value. He said it lost its value because of the global pandemic and other reasons. He also said that the administration before him, we're talking about the Iraqi premier, did not care about the needy and did not take the needy or the everyday people's concerns at heart. And therefore, when they agreed to allow the dinar to devalue, it hurt the everyday people. So the Iraqi premier took to his platform and said, I will revalue my dinar against the United States dollar. I will work with the central banks. And we've been waiting on that announcement to revalue the Iraqi dinar against the USD. He said, I will work with other countries to return my stolen money. I will fight endemic corruption, and I will take the needs of the needy and everyday people in my country at heart. So, yes, the Iraqi dinar is set to revalue. That was the promise of the Iraqi premier. This was just, I don't know if it was October, November, but I did report on that. So, yes, it will revalue, Brother Terrence Jones. So, if you don't know about revaluation of currencies, somebody said if you don't have a lot of money to spend, buy Bolivar or Dong. So Bolivar is the Venezuelan currency, which was significantly devalued because of sanctions and corruption and all kind of wars and all kind of stuff. And the Dong is the Vietnamese currency. So the Bolivar, it only costs a couple dollars to get, several tens of thousands, I think. And the Dong, last time I checked, was like 68 or $70 for, how much is that? The dong. A million. I think it was $68 per million Vietnamese dong. So if you're not familiar with a revaluation of currencies, what happens is the United States would go into countries and start a war. They would fund both sides of the war, and they would decimate their economy and destroy their country, destroy the economy, which would then devalue the currencies. Well, while the currencies were devalued, the United States people in power, your congressmen, lawmakers, presidents, world leaders, CEOs of banks, top leaders all over the world would buy those currencies when they were low and when they had been devalued. Then the United States would go in to those countries after they had decimated their economy after the war, build up the country, fix the roads, create railroads, all that. Then the currency would revalue based on the country now thriving. And those people or entities who had bought the country's currencies when they devalued, then after the wars and the country started thriving again, they would then go to the bank and get a return on their investment. So they might have bought, some currencies for just a few dollars, but once the countries were built back up, you can go to the bank with the and do an exchange based on a new exchange rate, and they became multimillionaires and billionaires. And this is how leaders enrich themselves. One of the ways. So that's what a revaluation is. So this is what happened in Kuwait. So if you don't know about currencies revaluing, look up the Kuwaiti dinar revalued in 1991. So somebody said if you can't afford dinar, because dinar is very expensive now, to get a million, you're gonna spend over $1,000. Get Vietnamese dong, get Venezuelan bolivar, or get silver, because silver is cheap. The Indonesian rupiah is cheap also, says Joe. Yes, the Indonesian rupiah, and the rate is supposed to be $1.47. So the Indonesian rupee, I can't remember how much it costs for $100,000, but I don't think it costs a lot of money, just a couple of dollars, right? Am I right? So somebody said they checked Forex. Okay. So hi, Scotland. Hi, Kenneth Elliott. Hi, Love Being Nubian. So this is what we were talking about um, earlier on some of my other podcasts, is what is a revaluation of currencies. It's connected. It's also called the RV, and it's connected to the global currency reset. So the global currency reset is not the Great Reset. It is not the reset that will be headed by the nefarious powers that will have like one central currency, world currency that we all will go to, that can be monitored, where they will monitor all your purchases, and if you say or do anything that they don't agree with, they will get rid of all of your digital currencies. That's the Great Reset. The global currency reset is when we have a demolition of this current fiat system, and we will go to a new sound money system based on silver and gold. And it's global because behind the scenes 209 countries agreed to return to the gold standard. And when that happens, all your currencies around the world will be 1-to-1 with each other because they all will be backed by gold and the resources that are in their countries. So Joe Healy said for the rupiah is, oh, that's good. The Indonesian rupiah for 377,000, you can purchase that for with $26. I imagine that's 26 USD. So somebody said for 100,000 rupiah, you can purchase that for only $15, 14 or $15 on eBay. So again, that's the Indonesian rupiah, which will revalue most likely when we have the global currency reset. You can buy $100,000 worth again for like $14 or $15 on eBay. Thank you all. Banknote World is also on eBay, or you can look up banknoteworld.com, BANKNOTEWORLD.com. Banknote World also sells rupiah for $14 to $15, is what Green Eyes Jackson said. And so you can go to banknoteworld.com, or you can go on eBay and type in Banknote World and look at all the currencies there. You can even get, I believe you might even be able to get the Iraqi dinar. You can get the Iraqi dinar at eBay. And if you are concerned, you don't trust eBay, just type in Iraqi dinar when you go on ebay.com, or IQD with a COA, certificate of authenticity. And you can get a certificate that will authenticate or validate that currency is real. Wholeness vibrations to you too, Inez. Somebody said you don't trust eBay. Yeah, and most people don't. So they just make sure that they get a certificate of authenticity with those currencies. Silver has gone up 30% in the past 12 weeks. Not only that, thank you for reporting that, but what I said on my last broadcast just a few minutes ago was that the demand for silver this year increased by 16%, which is, I think you said 1.21 billion ounces, which is the highest demand in decades. And they said it will create an issue because we don't have as much silver above ground as we do gold. So silver is in high demand. There was a 16% increase this year. It's in high demand. It's used in for industrial purposes in your computers, your catalytic converter, which is in your car, your cell phone, all your appliances, refrigerator, stove, washer, dryer, dishwasher. Silver is used for almost everything, solar panels, your technology, all types of things. So there's a high demand of silver. This is the Silver Institute that said the demand increased by 16%. I can't even imagine how much more is going to increase when we move to the gold and silver standard, and when people wake up and say, look, I got to put my fiat dollars into something that's going to hold its value, which is silver and gold. Looks like I have a halo. Hey, halo, halo, halo. Any other questions, family? Banknote World Iraqi dinar for 20. If you want $25,000 notes of IQD or Iraqi dinar, Banknote World right now sells it for $32. Green Eyes Jackson is saying, and they have a 15% discount code WTR15. Thank you. What's the alien faces? Somebody asks. Somebody says, buy silver if you can. The currencies that are the best are the Zimbabwe note, 2008, 2009. And I will add to that AAAB series of the $100 trillion. Thank you, Patriot Hero. He also says the Vietnamese dong, the Bolivar, and check with Banknote World and Great American Coin Company. That's true. I like Great American Coin Company. Also 100trillions.com, 100 trillions, TRILLIONS.com. You can buy some of your currencies there, including the Vietnamese dong. So thank you for saying, it looks like I have a halo. That's pretty cool. So it is a wonderful, wonderful time to be alive, family. We're watching so many countries. Right now, 85% of the world population is leaving U.S. hegemony. They're leaving United States power. They're leaving United States control. They're leaving United States dollar. What made the United States dollar the world reserve currency was our agreement with Saudi Arabia that we would trade our USD for their oil, and then we would protect their nation and force every other nation to use the United States dollar to get the oil from them. Well, now that Russia left the United States dollar, the BRICS Union, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, they all left the United States dollar. That led to Saudi Arabia leaving the USD. That's huge because that basically essentially means that the contract is broken. That essentially means that the United States dollar is no longer the world reserve currency. Now, I just announced that 2 days ago on October 8th, Xi Jinping, who is the president of China, met with the Saudi king on October the 8th. Now, they didn't go into detail what they met about, but we can surmise that it was probably about their trade agreement and a trade deal. If China decides to use any other currency other than the United States dollar to trade oil, it's a wrap. It's over. It's done for the United States dollar. Family, we already know that the United States Incorporated is bankrupt and defunct. So what you see happening with these people in power right now is just a show. It's not real. The United States military is in control, and Derek Johnson confirmed that for us. So, and then you look at these court cases, look at docket number 22-380. Listen, it's a wrap for the United States. So again, if China, which they probably will, use another currency other than the USD to trade with Saudi for oil, it's done. Ghana just made an announcement that they were making deals with Dubai companies, refinery companies, to trade gold for oil. So you have Ghana, who is the second largest gold producer in Africa. Ghana is called the Gold Coast for a reason. There's been gold mining going on in Ghana for many years, since so-called slavery times and civil rights time, and I mean all the way up through this period. So when I lived there in 2014 and 2014 to 2016, I saw gold mining going on by the Chinese, the Lebanese, different European nations. I mean, I'm talking serious gold mining is going on over in Ghana. So when they made that announcement that they are now trading gold for oil, that was huge. Any other questions? Long time no see, doctor. Who's Mr. Brown? Is that Alvin? Hi, Alvin. Is that Alvin of Lexington, Kentucky? Hello, if it is, hello. Ghana have 300 million tons of gold. I didn't know that. Another question somebody asked me is what happens to people's retirement accounts and their pensions? I'm a little ignorant about pensions. I believe that pensions are a type of retirement account. I can tell you that a lot of people have decided to take their retirement funds, what they can take out of it, or at least some of it, and roll it over to gold IRAs. And you can do that. You can roll over your retirement funds again into gold IRAs. And so a couple weeks ago, when I met with Andy Scheckman, who's the CEO of Miles Franklin Precious Metals Company, I asked him about rolling over IRAs and retirement funds into Gold IRAs, and he said he and his company can do that, and they work with another company. So if you're interested in that, somebody did ask me that about 30 minutes ago um on my other podcast. So you can do that. Email Andy at Andy at milesfranklin.com. That's Andy at the at symbol milesfranklin.com. He can help you with that. And he said they will even, the company with whom he works will allow you even to take that, not only turn it into a gold IRA, but turn some of that into physical gold so that you can take some of that gold into your possession. So I wanted to answer that question because I think that's a very pertinent question. Am I referring to Roth IRAs? I don't know the difference, honestly. I'm sorry. I I just know about retirement funds. So please forgive me. But if you email Andy, he can answer that question for you because he's been in business for 33 years. It is a precious metals company that his father started, and he started working with his father at 19. Miles Franklin has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, and they've never had one complaint. They have excellent customer service, and they just have a great reputation. They're very what I heard through my studies that they're most well respected and the most trusted precious metals company in the industry. So email Andy, please, and ask him. And if you need I have his personal number. If you need a number, email me at kiapruitt@gmail.com. That's kiapruitt@gmail.com. And I will do my best to connect you with Andy. So you'd like to do that for sure. Yes, please do that. You switch your 401k to a precious metal in a depository in Delaware. So that's BXEIRE19 said they have done that. You know, during the last economic crisis in 2008, my mom said she lost tens of thousands. I mean, multiple tens of thousands of dollars from her retirement account in 2008. She said she was livid, livid because it wasn't a lot of people that were saying take your money out and roll it over into gold and silver back in 2008. Not people we knew. Now, my son used to always say, my youngest baby has a degree in economics, and he would always tell us, he would warn us whenever you would have economic crises. He's young, but like around 2007, 2008. And my oldest son, who was actually a real estate broker, he was watching the real estate market. They both were like, take your money out of the retirement funds, and hide it somewhere, put it in your mattress, do whatever you can. But there was nobody telling us to put it into gold and silver. Now, in 2008, everybody else knew to do that, but I didn't know, but a lot of other people who know about gold and silver, there was a high demand in 2008 for gold and silver because they rolled over their retirement accounts, or they took the money, their savings, they rolled it over into gold and silver. And Andy Scheckman said in 2008 the demand was so high that the supply couldn't keep up with the demand, such that it took people 3 months or more to get their delivery. And he said, now, but what he's seeing happening now with the high demand and the supply taking a long time for some people to get to certain people's houses, he hadn't seen anything like it since 2008. So that's why I say get your gold and silver now, because central banks just last quarter alone purchased 400 million ounces, no, 400 million tons of gold just last quarter alone, which was a record amount of gold for your central banks. And speaking of central banks, I forgot to tell you all that Mongolia, excuse me, Mongolia Central Bank, they just make this announcement that the Mongolia Central Banks they called it hoarding gold, and they said the last 11 months of this year, they got 20 tons of gold, and their goal, GOAL, is to get 24 tons of gold by the end of this year. So that was some breaking news. A breaking news article came up. Mongolia Central Bank is hoarding gold. So when you look it up, you will see they're constantly talking about banks hoarding gold, countries hoarding gold, countries having their gold repatriated back to them, wholesalers running out of product, retailers, not retailers, but dealers having an issue getting gold and silver from the wholesalers. So you want to make sure that you're ahead of the game and that you prepare. Somebody asked me a question. This is way over my head. Have no clue what you're talking about, but I missed you, Dr. Kia. Robert Shelton asked me the question. And if you don't have time to ask me right now in the chat, send me an email to kiapruitt@gmail.com, and I will do my best to answer you. Can I put the information in the comment section? Okay, yes, I can. So if you want, hi, South Australia. I'm so honored that you're here. For information about where to go to get gold or silver, or to to roll over your retirement funds into a gold IRA, contact Miles Franklin or Andy Scheckman. Andy Scheckman is the CEO of Miles Franklin. Info at milesfranklin.com or Andy at Miles Franklin. That's his company, franklin.com. And so here it is. Ask questions, franklin.com. You can ask him questions. See, ask questions. You can have him to send you an inventory and prices and let him know he referred you. Okay, let's see. You're welcome. Please excuse me if my typing is off. I'm trying to do it and look at the chat and look at the camera at the same time. Um, if there is so much gold, why will gold increase? Okay, gold will increase in value because right now what you see is what's called price suppression and spoofing. So the value of gold is already high, but the people in power were spoofing or making it seem like the gold wasn't as valuable so that they can trick us into continuing on with buying up, I mean, with using fiat dollars and use other methods of currency rather than gold and silver as money. And they suppress the prices so that they can buy up the gold and silver or hoard gold and silver for themselves. So not only that, okay, another reason why it would increase in value is because who was it? Bill Holter, who was in the stock market for 23 years, just said the other day um, that when you take into consideration how much gold that the United States reports that they have, now we don't really know how much the United States have in gold, but because the United States gold has not been audited since 1956. But when you take into account how much gold we say we have, and you look at the debts that we have, it's going to take to pay off all the debts we have, including Medicare, Social Security, Fannie Mae, Fannie Mac, and all those government programs, all the debt we have, you have to revalue gold to be at least $125,000 per ounce. That's what Bill Holter said. But he said, in actuality, to pay off all the trillions of dollars of debt that we have, that they haven't even mentioned, gold will have to be evaluated at $800,000 per ounce. Now, will it go up that much? I'm not sure. He's just talking about the formula. This is a formula that economists have come up with. So that's why gold will revalue high, because you have to take into account how much you need to put forward to pay off all the debt in our country. Also, when the demand goes through the roof and the supply doesn't meet the demand, then automatically, this is economics, then the price will go up in gold. But I encourage you that even though it's going to shoot through the roof, to know that the value, not the value, but the cost will come down at some point as we return to the gold standard. I hope I've answered that. This also means cash in the bank will no good for folks too. I've heard two things. Some people say that the white hats that are in control. Am I yelling? I feel like I'm yelling. Some people say that the white hats that are in control will make sure that the money that's in the banks will be safe. Okay, that's what some people say. My grandma used to say, plan for the best. Is that how you say it? Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Because a lot of there was one bank. Which bank? Bank of America's stocks went down miserably a couple days ago. I think I reported that 2 days ago. Bank of America stocks plummeted miserably, which led to JP Morgan and Chase Bank stocks plummeting, and other banks. I can't remember the list of banks that I gave. So when their stocks plummeted, that means that their value plummeted. That means banks could be in trouble. So what happens when banks are in trouble? Under most administrations, what will happen is a bank bailout where the government will come forward and actually take care of the banks and say you're too big to fail, like they did in 2008, and they will give them money and make sure that they stay afloat. Well, the United States government is now bankrupt and defunct. There is no money to bail out the banks. So, what you will have then, if they get in trouble, is what's called a bail in, which means that they can use your money and my money that's in the banks to take care of themselves, pay off their debts, and do whatever they need to do to reconcile their books. Will the White Hats allow that to happen? Possibly, so that people can wake up, or possibly because we're still in the middle of a war, right? So you never know what's going to happen. So history tells us that when banks get in trouble, they only do a bank bailout or a bank bail in. Once you put your money in the bank and somebody says your money in the bank, oh, it's not tied to the stock market. Okay. Once you put your money in the bank, it becomes their money. Now, the money in your bank, somebody says not tied to the stock market, but I would question if your money in a bank, if your savings would be affected by the fact that the United States dollar has lost its value. So the United S- and I would think that everything tied to the USD will actually suffer when you have a stock market crash and when the United States dollar significantly lose its value. So the United States dollar has lost 90 to 95% of its no, was it 98? It was over 95% of its purchasing power since 1900. The United States dollar has lost its purchasing power again. Um, over 95% since the 1900s. And you know that that's happening through quantitative easing, money printing, basically the same thing. All these countries leaving the United States dollar, high inflation is significantly losing its value. And with all these countries saying, I'm no longer trading with the USD and the United States no longer being the world reserve currency, what will happen is all those dollars will flood in, or fiat dollars would flood into our country, making it worthless because nobody is trading with it anymore. As a matter of fact, all exporting nations have left the USD, and the only countries officially trading with USD is the UMCA, United States, Mexico, and only parts of Canada. So everything tied to the USD could be affected. So what some people do who have money in the bank, I'm telling you, they say, look, I'm only leaving enough there. Everybody I follow, the Bix Weir, I think Bix worked for the stock market. Who else? Arcadia Economics, Chris Marcus, David Mahoney. I just listened to David Morgan, a silver guru. These and some of your top economists, they said they only leave enough money in there to pay their businesses, their employees, and to pay their bills, and everything else they roll over into precious metals. Or and some of it they would put, in their store somewhere else, because when everything crashes, because the stock market is going to crash, the housing market, everything is going to crash. It's going to tumble. Companies are laying off workers by the tens of the thousands, and they're closing their doors. When everything crashes and the dust settles, everything would drop in value. And if you have some cash on hand, you'll be able to go and purchase you some companies, some land, some farms, some property. Okay. So that's why some people are taking the money out and saving some, putting it, storing it away, either in precious metals, or they're just leaving the fiat dollars, in some other place, some area, so that they can go and take advantage of everything crashing. Yes, when the market crashes, she said, when the market crashes, we'll go to the USTN, which will be go back. That's true. And we'll be able to trade in our USD 1 to 1 with the USTN. And USTN is the United States Treasury notes. The QFS system, a quantum financial system, is mirrored to what we have in our accounts right now. So I think they're saying your money should be okay. I'm skipping. I'm sorry. Oh, uh, I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know what's going on. I'm breaking up. Okay, let's see. Maybe if I step outside, you won't be able to hear me. Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me? Am I okay? Somebody says it's okay with them. So that was the money. You can hear me clearly. Some people can hear me, some can't. Somebody asked me a question about pensions. We covered that. Silver revaluing. I don't know how much silver will revalue for. I just know that the gold will be between 10,000 and $100,000 an ounce. Some people, so if I'm breaking up, you have to go out and come back in and it'll stop the skipping. Thank you. Thank you for letting us know that, Alani. Okay, so listen, family, silver. People say where gold goes, silver will follow. So right now, the last time I checked the ratio, the gold to silver ratio was 85-1, meaning it would take 85 ounces of silver to purchase 1 ounce of gold. However, at the end of every empire, according to my studies and economists that I have studied who have and historians, at the every at the end of every empire, the people in power rack up the debt, spend up the money, print up as much money as they can. Then they destroy that system, that fiat system, and they go to a sound monetary system. In addition to that, at the end of every empire, the gold to silver ratio drops. This is what I've studied, I heard, to 3-1. 3-1, meaning it would then take 3 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. So right now, can you see the spoofing and the price suppression and all the corruption right now? There's no way the gold to silver ratio should be 85-1 because some people who have studied money in biblical times say that it was 1-1. And Bix Weir believes that the gold to silver ratio would drop 1-1. At the most, that it would be 3-1. So right now it's 85-1. There historians are saying it'll be 3-1. At the end of every empire, it's always 3-1. Bix Weir, who was in the stock market, who's been studying this for a long time, said it could go to 1-1. And some people say silver can become even more valuable than gold. So silver is going to revalue a whole lot. People aren't willing to put a value on silver. But again, silver is used for more than money. Gold has been used historically for jewelry and money, but silver, I love you too. I'm breaking up. If I'm breaking up bad, guys, go out and come back in. Leave and then come back in. Silver may become more valuable than gold because whereas gold is used for jewelry and money, silver historically has been used for money, utensils to eat with which to eat, solar panels, utilities, what else? Industrial purposes. So I don't know exactly how much silver will revalue, but there was a Bank of America article that was out in 2019 that said they expected silver to revalue in a couple of years at $600 per ounce. I cannot find that article. If I look for it, if I find it, I will submit it to you. But some people say silver again will be 3-1 to gold or 1-1. So, or it might be valued more than gold at some point because gold is the money of the banks. Silver is the money of the people. I heard 150,000 an ounce for silver, $150,000 an ounce for silver. That's awesome. If it's the case that the gold to silver ratio will decrease and silver will be worth as much or more than gold, then some people are actually trading in. Bix Weir said he traded in a lot of his gold for silver. And then when the ratio is closer to 1-1, then he will go and buy some gold with his silver. So the ratio just means like right now, if it's like 85-1, just means you could take 85 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. The reason why I like silver is because it's inexpensive, okay? And it has industrial purposes. So silver right now is probably like $23 an ounce. Plus you have to add a premium. So $23 an ounce is the market rate. What do you call the market rate? Gosh, the name escapes me, but $23 right now is like, I mean, a spot price. The spot price is the market price. Spot prices should be around $23 an ounce. But if you add the premium, it may cost you 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Right now, it could be $32 an ounce because the premium is the cost above the spot price for doing business with the dealer. Plus, it may have a numismatic value on top of that, in, included in the premium. So the numismatic value is the collectible value that some of your coins will have. So also when the supply goes, not when the supply, demand goes up, even if you see the spot price or market price at only $23 an ounce of silver, when that demand goes up, they put a high premium on that because it becomes harder for them to find the product. That's with gold and silver. So you can look online, you can go to milesfranklin.com, and you can look on other resources, and you can look for the spot price of silver and the spot price of gold, and you will see that they fluctuate. And it might be one base price, but you're going to pay more above that because of the premium value, which is the cost of doing business with the dealer, and any numismatic value, plus you're going to pay taxes. People are saying if you like silver, go buy purchase some XLM, right? And some people are saying XRP. Big Swear on YouTube knows a lot about silver. You know what? I'm gonna have to ask my buddies. I'm gonna have to ask Chris Marcus. Chris Marcus is Arcadia Economics. I want to interview him for you guys because he used to also work in the stock market and he knows a lot, and he knows Big Swear. So we really need to have a conversation with Bix. So when I get the chance, for gold, get XRP. I'm gonna have Bix on here because he knows a whole lot about silver. He knows about how the Federal Reserve had actually planned to return us to the gold standard after they had finished or completed their agenda. That would be an awesome interview. Yes, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. Any other questions? Somebody said GESARA is going to make us illionaires. Ooh, when Patriot Hero bought silver, it was $5 above spot, and that's okay. That's not too bad. I'm fine. You can hear me. Any other questions, family? Let's see what other questions you all had asked me. Did we go over the Bolivar? Somebody said, get Bolivar. That's the Venezuelan currency that had been significantly devalued over the years because of sanctions, corruption, and other things. You can get the Bolivar, the Venezuelan currency, off eBay. You can get it from Banknote World. You can get it from 100trillions.com. And I think those are the only two places with which I'm familiar. Somebody asked me about the ads on my channel. Is SLV good, family? Can you all answer that question for William? Ads on my channel, I took off. So you can do skippable ads, non-skippable ads, and then these little cards that are ads on the side or at the bottom. I took off the non-skippable ads because you all were like, your ads are killing me, Kia. It's too much. I want to stay on and listen to the podcast, but I can't deal with these ads. So ads, that's the way that YouTubers make money, by the amount of ads that are clicked on or clicked through or something like that. So for years, I was monetized. No, first of all, I was not monetized because you have to get a certain amount of subscribers. I think 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. So for years, I wasn't monetized. Then when I got all the subscribers and I was able to be monetized, there was some information that I was given that was not ad friendly, because if you talk about things that the deep state or people who the sponsors of the ads, if they don't like what you talk about, or they're not in agreement, or it doesn't fit the agenda of certain powers that be, they will not monetize you, or they'll say that this podcast is not ad suitable. So when I finally became ad suitable and you all supported me a lot and you came on the podcast, then I started monetizing by adding all the ads. But because it was too much, I took off the non-skippable ads. That reduces my income, but in order to make my audience happy and to make sure you all, get the information that we're trying to get out, because it's not all about money. I mean, I like to eat. Don't get me wrong. I like to eat. Sister like to eat. But the information is more important. So I did take non-skippable ads off of that. If you see ads coming on while you're watching the podcast, just click on the the link or the little thingy. It'll say skip ads. Just click on that and skip the ad, and then you can watch the video without being interrupted. So I did take non-skippable off, but I do have skippable ads. I wanted to address that. Do I know about any exchange rates? Yes. What I was told by people who are part of the farmers' claims, which those claims led to NESARA, is that the Iraqi dinar and the Vietnamese dong rate would be 100 to 150. Now, that sounds like a lot, but when I was saying that in 2018, the gurus were saying that where the gurus are getting their information from, but I'm getting my information from people who were in the farmers' claims, the people who actually were a part of taking the United States government and central banks to court for nefarious banking practices. And they said that they were told that the rate would be between 100 and 150. Now, it's possible that they could lop some of the zeros off. Okay. I don't know. But take into account currencies will be backed by gold, so it's possible that it can be a high rate. Now before they were saying, "Oh no, that's not true. It's only going to be 15 cents." Then they went up to $1. Then they went up to $3. Then they went up to 3.50. Then they went up to $4. Now they're saying 25. It's going up higher. I'm telling you. So I'm only giving you what I've been told. That it could be between 100 and 150, and that the Zim note will be astronomical, because again, it's supposed to be 1 to 1. Now again, they might lop off some zeros, but the Zim note they're hoping people will use for humanitarian purposes. So I do know that there's no such thing as a contract rate and a this rate and a that rate. And you know what I heard is, no, everybody's going to have the same rate across the board, and everybody will go to the bank at the same time, meaning that all the currencies will revalue about the same time. Yes, Australia is a part of GESARA and NESARA. Every country around the world is a part of the GESARA and NESARA, because every country behind the scenes agreed to return to the gold standard, to world peace, and to have a debt jubilee to completely wipe out the debt. This world war has been going on for centuries, and it started with some bloodline entities, nefarious entities. And I want to, for us, is nefarious because they eat human beings like we eat meat, right? So that might not be nefarious to them, but other beings came to the planet and enslaved the planet and created systems to cause us to be in division, to fight each other, and to cause us to be their slaves so that they can feed off of our flesh, and also cause us to emit psychic energy that's angry, that's in pain, that's fearful. And that psychic energy that comes from your body when you're traumatized is called LOOSH, which is loosh. And the beings that were in power fed off of that energy and ate it. Well, at a certain time period, the benevolent entities that got tired of watching us suffer and wanted to see us ascend to become gods, or reach our highest state of consciousness, or a higher state of being, because we were created by, they say, many, or seeded by many races, what you call extraterrestrial or interterrestrial, or different beings. We were seeded by different ones. The ones who seeded us here have come back. This is the story, to liberate us. And once that happened, they met with certain bloodline families all over the world, who then set aside gold and established military, and also set aside resources to help us, so that they can put forth the gold and resources to pay off the debt and liberate humanity. And the military, which is the white hats of the NESARA white knights, and the white hats of the military, or what do they call them? Yeah, white hats of military, got together, and they're fighting against the deep state. So Every single country will be involved in the National Economic Security and Reformation Act, known as NESARA, or the global version of that being the Global Economic Security and Reformation Act, because this is a worldwide event, because everything that was happening on this planet, the loosh, the things happening to our children, the hunting parties, the trafficking, the drugs, the trauma, the abuse, the slavery, all of that was happening so badly on this planet that it was affecting other realities, other planets, and other universes. Because they say we have parallel universes. It was happening. The loosh that was being emitted from us, and all the pain was affecting everything around and all the celestial bodies. So they came back to help us. So yes, every country will be involved in this. Are the Zim Argo checks treated as currency? I don't know about the Zim Argo checks. I don't know. Yes, reptilians, demons, draconians, all type of bloodline beings were here. I have foreign banknotes: Zimbabwe, Vietnamese dong, this person is saying, Indonesian rupiah, Iranian real, I think it's called, Venezuelan, Mozambique, Bolivia, Nicaragua, Zaire, Argentina, Croatia, Angola, Yugoslavia, Bosnia, and Herzegovina. I haven't even heard of that one. That's awesome. That's Vigilantili 205. Yes, 209 countries agreed behind the scenes to return to world peace and to the gold standard. Anything else? Yes, that A word was being emitted from our children or from people that were traumatized, and it was affecting the entire universe or multiverse. You're welcome, Lonnie. If you're talking to me, you're welcome. It's my great pleasure. We talked about the ads. Sometimes my internet is sketchy because of the area. For some reason, they said that we have degenerated lines, and they claim that they're going to fix them. They said that last year. They haven't yet. So sometimes my internet is choppy. So that's why I'm in my car. And on my last podcast yesterday, I was filming, and I noticed that I still had a tag on my necklace, but I didn't take it off, and I didn't stop. I just kept going, because when I was taking persuasive speech and journalism classes in high school and college, they told us, if you make a mistake, keep going. Just act like nothing ever happened. Keep talking, keep reporting. So that's what I did. So if you saw this little tag sticking from my necklace, it's because I just ignored it. I saw it there, but I just kept going. Anything else? Excellent. You're welcome. Great information. We love. Thank you. Okay, it's not choppy. It's clear. Good. Watch The Fall of the Cabal, Patriot Hero said, because that's a great documentary. Anything else? So earlier today, what did we discuss? And I'll wrap this up. I'll just do a summary. We discussed that the Peruvian president has been arrested and taken into custody. Peruvian president allegedly was trying to dismantle Congress in order to avoid being held on treason. So he was taken into custody. Now, if that president was indeed a nefarious president or part of the DS or deep state, he has to go to that place where all world leaders who were involved in the DS has to go. That's a part of GESARA and NESARA. In order for it to be formally implemented, all of the world leaders who were nefarious have to go. Another part of GESARA and NESARA is, in order for you or me to get the money that's due to us, because every human being will be given several, like tens of thousands of dollars per month for 11 years in a non-interest bearing account. Some people say all the way up to possibly $100,000 per month in a non-interest bearing account over 11 years. In order to get access to that money, you have to go to your country of origin or to your home country. So that's a part of NESARA and GESARA. Another thing that's a part of NESARA and GESARA is that all debts will be wiped away, and we are in a Shemitah year. Shemitah is a 7-year cycle. So the Shemitah year is a jubilee. And what happened was, when the children of Israel were taken, when they left Egypt and they went into the promised land, God, Yahweh, told them I come from I'm Jewish, so Yahweh told them. So I keep the holy days prescribed in Leviticus 23, and this is a part of our heritage. But Yahweh told them, or God, or the God of the Bible told them, count a series of 7 years. Count 7 years, a cycle. It's a 7-year cycle. 7 years, and on that 7th year, you have to let go or release. Shemitah means release or let go. That's the literal meaning of the Hebrew word shemitah, let go or release. You count 7 years. On that 7th year, you let go all of the people who owe you, all the people who are indebted to you. You have a release, and you have a debt jubilee. Historically, that happens among the Hebrew people. And then, it's supposed to be like a high celebration time. The slaves go free, the debtors go free. People are rejoicing. They can eat from the land freely. All of this, it's a big deal. In the United States history, on the Shemitah year, at the end of the cycle, that 7th year, we've always seen a stock market crash. We've always seen something happen in the monetary system. So I looked. So I said, let me look and look at all the years to see if that's true. So I said, I'm not going to go too much further than 1920, because most people, you know there may be some people still alive from 1920-ish, 1930. So 1920, was it 1920 we had, was it the depression? We had something that happened like in 1920. Was it 1920, 1927? Where we had the depression. We had a stock market crash, which, like the end of 1920, 1929, we had a stock market crash, which led to the Great Depression in the 1930s. And every 7 year, we had a stock market crash. So I said, that's kind of far back. Let me look to recent times. So 1984, something happened. We had a stock market issue, a stock market crash. 2000, you all know we had issues in 2000. And then we had 9/11 in 2001. We had stock market crash. 7 years after that, 2008, we had the big uh, uh, stock market issues, and we had economic collapse. 7 years later, 2015, we had economic collapse. Now here we are in 2022. Every time, the 7th year of the 7-year cycle, which is called the Shemitah, you always have a stock market crash. And this is why you have people saying that we need to prepare, because when you study history and you look at what has happened, oftentimes you can predict the future. So this is the Shemitah year. But what they did in the United States incorporated those nefarious beings. They had a stock market crash or some kind of economic collapse, but they did not do what the creator, or what Yahweh, the God of the Hebrew people, said you were supposed to do, and that is a debt jubilee. Well, now with NESARA and GESARA, you will have a debt jubilee, and we're praying that it happens during this year. So now, again, this is the Shemitah year, but the beginning of the Hebrew year actually happened in September. September the 25th was Rosh Hashanah, which is the Feast of Trumpets, and it is the new year. So we're still in the new year. Even though we're about to go into 2023, we're still in this particular Hebrew year, which started September 25th. I think it's interesting that the new year starts actually on the Feast of Trumpets. Then you have Trump Pence. So when we saw Trump and Pence running in 2016, we knew that that was something huge, because you have a trumpet, which the trumpets means that you're sounding an alarm. The trumpets announces a war. The trumpets is about celebration. But I'm getting off right now. What I'm trying to say is NESARA, GESARA should be happening very, very soon. So a part of NESARA is a debt jubilee, which will wipe out all the debts. And I, not too long ago, put on my podcast a video of two ladies talking about how gold has covertly come forward to actually pay off all the debt that we have, but it's not made official yet. And that video was done by Anna Von Reitz. So if you all look on my podcast, you look at Anna Von Reitz, you will see that video how it says the debt has already been paid off, but there's no official announcement, so I can't prove that. But I will tell you that with NESARA GESARA, the debt will be paid. So the depression was in 1929. Thank you. Ray Richardson just got in from the Cigar Lodge in Baltimore. Peace, blessings, and welcome. I look forward to it too. Another thing is you're supposed to have technology that's going to be released that will heal us, technology that will reverse us in age, technologies that will help us with sustainable living, food, grow. What else? Of amazing things will happen through NESARA and GESARA, a gold standard, world peace. What else? A quantum financial system, which is a system that is monitored by the galactic beings or galactic, was it Federation of Worlds? The galactic entities that are here to help us, they're going to monitor those accounts to make sure people not doing things with children or doing things nefarious. So that's going to happen with NESARA, GESARA, and a bunch of other wonderful things. Let's see if I'm missing anything else. So Africa will be amazing. Yes. Pray that everyone had a blessed Sabbath. I had a wonderful Sabbath. Thank you, Lonnie. You're so amazing. Technology. Okay, so we talked about the Peruvian president that was arrested, and that's a part of, if he's nefarious, it's a part of NESARA. He was arrested because allegedly he was trying to disband Congress in order to escape being held for treason. Also, Peru is important because it is the second largest silver producing nation. Some people say third largest, so it's second or third largest. We talked about Mongolia banks have been hoarding gold. So they, in the last 11 months, they had 20 tons of gold, and now their goal, GOAL, is to have 24 tons of gold by the end of this year. We talked about how Xi, the president of China, met with the Saudi king, probably to talk about trading, using other currencies, other than the United States to trade for their oil, which is a huge announcement because Saudi Arabia left the United States dollar and they joined the BRICS Union. Saudi Arabia is also important because there was a triangle of power that was in control of the world. Well, that we know of, behind these three entities was actually the Black Pope, and then behind the Black Pope, which wasn't a color, it's just a dark energy being, and behind him was nefarious beings, extraterrestrials, interterrestrials, something like that, non-human nefarious beings. So, but there was a triangle of power that was, one leg was George Soros, the other leg was the Rockefeller and Rothschild, and the other leg was the Saudi princes. So we were told by the 17th letter and some military intel in 2017 that the triangle of power had to be dismantled. So Saudi Arabia was a part of that because Saudi Arabia actually owned many of the casinos in Nevada, we were told, and controlled a lot of the world leaders. And so I think it's interesting that Saudi Arabia allegedly the bad portion of them were taken out about 2018. So Saudi Arabia now made the announcement, they were being controlled by the United States Incorporated as well, but they made the announcement again that they were leaving United States dollar, leaving United States control, and joining BRICS. So G meeting with them is significant because everybody is leaving the United States dollar. Bank of America said in an article, it said, it is time for any investor to sell off any rally in stocks. So they were talking about selling off stocks. If you had a rally in stocks, sell them off, is what Bank of America said. And that article came out about 2 or 3 days ago. So I wanted to announce that. And I did in my last podcast, but that was a bit choppy. We also discussed that the silver demand rose by 16% this year, creating the biggest deficit in decades. The demand in silver is increasing because people are waking up and they realize that gold and silver are real money, that the Constitution defines the dollar as a fixed weight in silver or as a fixed weight in gold. People remember that House Resolution 5404 was put forth by Alexander Mooney in 2018, defining the dollar as a fixed weight in gold. Then he came back in October, like around the 8th or 9th, something like that, with House Resolution 9157, which again was to define the dollar as a fixed weight in gold. Now, some people are telling me that that doesn't matter, that a bill, it doesn't mean anything because it has to be passed and it has to become a law. Listen, the Constitution is the law of the land. Okay, so the Constitution defined gold as silver, a dollar as silver and gold. So they can play this game and passing bills all they want. The Constitution is the law of the land, and in 13 or 14 states, I can't remember, they already have legislation that have made gold and silver legal tender, and they can already use gold and silver as legal tender. So you can look that up. Oh, okay. You're connecting with people. Good. Healing centers. Yes. Silver was $8 then, now 25. Next 70 and then 500. That's God's money. Gold could go up to between $10,000 an ounce to $100,000 an ounce. But again, Bill Holter said, if you take into account how much gold that the United States claims that they have, we don't know how much they really have because there's never been an audit since 1956. But if you take into account how much the United States claim they have, and you look at all the debt that we have, in order to pay off all the debt, you will have to valuate gold to at least $125,000 an ounce. But Bill Holter, who worked for the stock market for 23 years, over 23 years, and he's considered an expert in this area. He said, if you consider that the United States owe a lot in Medicare, a lot in Social Security, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and all these programs, as well as just the debt that we owe other countries, then you need to evaluate gold at $800,000 an ounce, is what Bill Holter said. But I will tell you that United States has not been honest about how much gold we have. They didn't tell people that there's gold in the Grand Canyon, which Bix Rear would tell you, and there's gold stored in different places that have not been publicly reported. And I think that's it. I answered the questions that people gave me. I did a summary of what we talked about. Matthew De Gregorio, who in the last podcast about an hour ago gave us a donation and a blessing. I love you. I love you too, Matt Riley. Thank you. Jacqueline Byers or Jacqueline Briggs, G. Burrell, Akeem Calendar, Willie Sims, Osiris with a Z, Debbie Sumlin, Heather Huggins L, Leonard Lassiter Bay, Christina Smith, my sister Sheree, Rodney McCrone, and who else? Lawrence Jordan. Thank you for all your gifts. And thank you all for the gift of your presence, the gift of your energy, the gift of your love. I really appreciate you. I love you very much. Hello. Any news on the Zim? I haven't heard anything on the Zim. Only thing I know is that Zimbabwe made an announcement earlier this summer that they were producing gold coins. They did produce gold coins, and that they were using gold through some type of technology. So it looks really promising. And also, I think Menengawa, he's the new president. There was a president before him that they got rid of. So Menengawa actually may be the GESARA president. Birth certificates, there's going to be a way for us to get money off of our birth certificates because our birth certificates were turned into a bond. And there's actually a formula you can find out how much your birth certificate is worth. I have that formula in my Gmail. Next time I come on, if somebody reminds me, send me an email at kiapruitt@gmail.com. And the next time I do a podcast, I will tell you how you can figure out how much your birth certificate bond is worth. This is the formula I was given, and there is a way you will be able to get money from it through the United States Treasury Department, I believe, I remember, but only after we go officially to the gold standard. Foreigners are not the indigenous word. Okay. So people are saying you should have XLP and XLM. What else? The Zim? The Zim? Are you saying that the Zim is out of stock? You can go to 100trillions.com. You can go to Banknote World, and you could go to Great American Coin Company to get the Zim, and you can go to eBay. It's choppy again. All right. That might be my cue. Family, thank you so much for being here on the podcast with me. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your gifts. Thank you for your encouraging words. I appreciate you allowing me to be part of your soul family. Thank you for being part of my soul family, because you all know we can't talk about the stuff that we learn or that we know with just anybody. But so because of that, the Creator has given us each other. I love you all. If there are no questions, please, if you're not from America, you will have to go to the country that you were born in to collect your money through NESARA, GESARA. That's correct. At least that's what we were told. I don't know anything about gold, silver, crypto. Oh, that might be the XLM and XRP. So family, I love you so much. I am getting tired. I'm thirsty. It is now, I think it's after 11. It is 11:15 p.m. If you have any other questions, please put them in the comment section. I will answer those questions. I love you too, Shelly. You're welcome. It's my pleasure. Please, when you look at a podcast, go to the description section, because usually I will add all of the articles that confirm or back up my report. So somebody asked me in the last podcast, does anything you ever say come to fruition? Yes. Before the shutdown, I said there's going to be a Black Swan event that will happen. We will have National Guard on the ground. We will have a curfew. Mind you, I was just reporting intel. I didn't know what it was going to look like. And that article actually went viral. It was on And We Know's podcast. It was on Rumor Mills. It was on podcasts all across the different platforms. I kid you not, days later, the whole world shut down. So, yeah, some things do come to pass, actually. It's not because, I know so much, it's that the Creator allows me to either be given intel or people tell me things, and I just report what I've researched. But I usually will source the articles, or any videos that will support my claim. Also, we've been talking about the gold standard since 2017, and people thought it was crazy. But what do we see now? We see country after country leaving the United States dollar and saying either that they're returning to the gold standard or that they're going to use a basket of currencies backed by gold. So yes, what about people that became citizens? That's a great question, Vivian. I was wondering about that myself. So they're saying in order to receive your money through NESARA and GESARA, you have to go to the country of your birth or to your home country. But what about if you are now a citizen of the United States? Perhaps you'll be able to, or of a certain country, perhaps you'll be able to, stay in that country and get your money. That's a good question. I'll look into that for you and get back with you on that. Your Social Security card is your Social Security number is actually a bank account number. You need that money. Oh, yes, let me tell you all. Countries are trading underneath our Social Security number. You can go to GMEI utility, UTILIY. I think that's how you spell utility. I'm getting tired. .org/ I don't know if it's that called a backslash, search. So GMEIutility.org/search. Type in your Social Security number with the dashes, and you will see all of the companies that are trading under your Social Security number. So again, GMEIutility.org or GMEIutility.org/search. And you will security number with the dashes, you will see all of the number. So when I first looked in 2017 or 2018, I think it was, I saw 300 companies trading under my social security number. When I checked last month, I had 33,000 companies and entities trading under my social security number. That money needs to come back to us because that's unlawful. If we were doing that, we would go to jail. So part of that money that's coming to each of us through NESARA and GESARA, that, but tens of thousands up to 100,000 a month, into a non-interest bearing account only for you for 11 years, is supposed to include or happen because of not nefarious, illegal banking practices, and as well as them trading under our social security number, turning our birth certificate into a bond and making money. But there has to also be a way to get that money back from your social security card. That I haven't figured out. I do know about how to get the money from your birth certificate. Some people have tried and said that they were able to do it, and others have not been able to do it. I haven't tried to get money off my birth certificate bond yet. I'm waiting to the Republic is formally announced and we're on a gold standard, and I know the nefarious beings are out, and then I'm going to try it. But some people have tried that and gotten their money. Yes. GMEIutility.org, my darling. Let me see if I can put that in there for you. www.gmeiutility.org. Thank you for putting that in the chat. Then put your put your social security number with the dashes, and then you push the button, you'll entities trading under your social security name. Our hero has 705 companies trading under his social security number. That's a shame. Somebody said you were told to get detached from your birth certificate and social security. Okay. So family, if that's it, you saw your birth certificate amount. Yes, there's a formula. There's a way you can see. Thank you across the world. She said Kia has that fire. Somebody saying something about the indigenous Aboriginal people are the copper. If you look up the 1828 Webster's definition of American, it will say the copper colored people found here by Christopher Columbus, but now applied to Europeans. And then it'll say something like we're all Americans. So people that look like me, all growing up, all my parents and the grandparents, they always told so-called Black people, we got Indian in our family, and you knew which bloodline you were from. So I know I'm Choctaw and Cherokee, probably some other things, but I know that. So what happened was surely some people came from Africa, but the majority of the people that were classified as Black are actually indigenous to the land, or the Aboriginal. Ab just means of or from. They'll tell you it means against or not. That was the newer definition of ab. The older definition of ab in Aboriginal, AB means from or of. The people from the land or of their land, the original people, were reclassified. So those were the copper colored people who looked like me. We were considered Aboriginal. We were considered Moors. We were considered indigenous. And then they changed our classification from indigenous to colored. So on some of your grandparents' birth certificates, if you look like me, it might actually say colored. So at some point, if you had indigenous on your birth certificate, native or colored, you were able to get some type of money through the laws that the government passed, because some of the people that came here actually took over the land or usurped our republic and our government. So they were like, we can't have these people saying colored on their birth certificate, because then that colored means that you're indigenous, that you're the original people on the land. You are part of the Moorish dynasty, the Moor Empire. You can look at my video on who are the Moors. Brother Lloyd Douglas L goes into extensive detail about how expansive this empire was at one point. It was called Morocco. This is why Donald Trump said Morocco and the Moroccan Empire were the first to acknowledge us as a nation, because when Europeans came here, because of the issues they had in Britain, they were allowed to come here. We welcomed them here, and they conducted a trade here. And they had my ancestors which I'm both on both sides, but the indigenous ancestors recognize the United States, the colonies, as their own nation, and they are the United States of America. And that's lowercase u, NITED, lowercase s, STATES, of capital A, America. Donald Trump said Morocco was the first to acknowledge us as our own nation. Yes, United States of America, part of the Moroccan Empire. So they changed our classification from indigenous to colored, then to Negro, then to Black, and then they say Jesse Jackson was charged with naming us African American. Most of us, again, did not come from Africa. That's why you can't find slave ships. Nobody can find a slave ship. You can only see drawings. Surely some people probably did come here from Africa, but the majority of the so-called Blacks are not from Africa. We're indigenous to the land. Again, we're Aboriginal indigenous, and our classification was changed throughout the years. Then it became popularized to change our classification through the Census Bureau and Walter Plecker. Walter Plecker was part of the Census Bureau. He was like really instrumental in making sure that the Census Bureau all over the country changed our designation or classification to anything other than indigenous, because they didn't want the people to know that they were from the land and that their land was being stolen. They want you to know who you are, because it's an act of war to take people out of the homes and put them in schools so that you can give them a different history from what their parents and grandparents and great grandparents had taught them. So then by the time you get to many generations, by the time you go to the third and fourth generation, they forget their history. So Hollywood, which is part of the CIA, and you all know this, they were created to just like the school system, to perpetuate these lies, which is why they came up with all these slavery stories, which is why they came up with Roots, that book and movie that became so popular that made all people that look like me think, oh my God, Kunta Kinte, Kizzy, they're all like, they're my ancestors. We all came from African slave ships. That's a lie. Alex Haley, who wrote the book Roots, was sued by Harold Colander. Harold Colander took Alex Haley to court and sued him for plagiarism because Harold Colander was the author of a book called The African. According to the court case, Alex Haley stole or plagiarized his characters from The African, Harold Colander's book, and Harold Colander is a Caucasian man, and plagiarized them and made up this whole story about how he came from Africa, and now that Kunta Kinte and Kizzy and all them, Kunta wanted to be free. They went through all this horrible, and I'm not trying to make light of slavery because it was horrible. All of us have been enslaved at some point. And even so-called white people, Caucasian people, have been enslaved. They were enslaved before us. Some of my ancestors, not my direct ancestors, but some brown people enslaved Caucasian people from different countries will tell you that their people were enslaved. So anyway, I went off script. So Alex Haley was sued by Harold Colander. That whole story from Alex Haley wasn't true, although you did have chattel slavery and you did have indentured servitude on the land here. Everybody wasn't a slave. Many of us, we did extensive research. We've even hired people. We've looked at all the records. My great grandparents, all the way, none of them were slaves. In fact, they were landowners. And if people would actually take the time to do the work rather than believing the history books and the lies that Hollywood tell them, they would find out that most of them have not been slaves. Okay. We just been lied to because they wanted to cause division so that, one group of people can feel like I should feel bad for my skin color because my ancestors allegedly enslaved everybody. And then tell another group of people you should feel bad and hate that group of people, just in order to cause division so that they can control us all. It's divide and conquer. So anyway, the 1828 definition, it was a setup, yes, of American is the copper colored people found here by Christopher Columbus. And when you look at all the accounts of some of the so-called the colonies that came here, they will say the same thing, that the copper-colored people were tawny. They had kinky hair. They had wide nostrils, high cheekbones. Tawny means dark or brown. Copper color is a dark brown. It could be a light brown all the way up to dark. If you look at the book called They Came Before Columbus, which was written by, somebody help me. They came before Columbus. I can't think of the author. Somebody ever put it in chat. It tells you that we were, every time you get deep, the YouTube goes choppy. They came before Columbus. I think he died mysteriously. It will tell you that the copper colored people are the original people. So again, they changed our classification from indigenous to colored to Negro to black. And black was something that was actually a bad thing. My aunts and uncles did not allow you to call them black. We're from America. Yes, that's what America is. America, Turtle Island. What else? Northwest Africa, Amexem, North Amexem, all these names, the Moroccan Empire, which was expensive. So you couldn't call my aunts and uncles black and my daddy and my mama black, because that was a derogatory term. Black is not an ethnicity, it's not a nationality. Black is a legal status that means that you're dead. It means that you're a slave. It means that you're non-existent. Etymologically, the word means blank, bleak, pale, and void. It is a legal status that means that you have no standing in law, that you're a slave. So they have a lot of us calling ourselves black to make us think that we're not indigenous to the land, and to make us think that cast spells upon ourselves that we are slaves. You see? So it means dead. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Ivan Van Sertima. I knew somebody would come through. Go ahead, Green Eyes. You've been helping me. Y'all have been helping me so much tonight. Thank you. Dr. Ivan Van Sertima wrote the book, They Came Before Columbus. So, family, they've been lying to all of us so much for so long, but we're waking up. I don't even know how I got into who the indigenous people are. So black is a derogatory term. You have no legal standing. That's why you don't get reparations, because you keep saying black folk need reparations where there's no such nationality of folk called black. And some of y'all wasn't even slaves, not chattel slaves. Now, we just keep believing these stories, because what else were we supposed to do? We didn't know. The moral of the story is that we're all one. The first universal law of nature is the law of oneness. We all come from one source, and that is the creative source. We're all interconnected. Every last being, everything. Sertima, was that the wrong book that came before Columbus? Oh, you got to see him speak. So we're all one creative source, family. Everything's interconnected. All sentient beings, all humans, extraterrestrials, ants, insects, animals, plants, the soil, the water. We're all living, and we're all part of the one. And if we decide to leave here and die, which some of us will live forever, but you will return to the source. So we all come from source. You will all return to source. You're all part of source, which means that you are gods. Yes, the scripture says, know ye not, ye are gods. So additionally, we all have been seeded, allegedly, according to some documents, by different races, or extraterrestrial races, or root races. Not if I said anything that I want you to take away from this podcast, is that we're all one. We are in this together, and we need to love each other, support each other, help each other, and take care of each other. And if that's all, no, you had the wrong book in mind. Oh, if that's all, family, I'm getting ready to close. Are there any final questions? My battery is getting low. Thank you. Somebody said straight facts. Thank you. And you all are helping me too. So thank you. Yes, identify with the character, a person's character, and not the color. Yes. You're welcome. Anything else? Love each other. Yes. Right. There's no such thing as black people. We don't have a black flag. That's crazy. The whole maritime law is dead at sea or lost at sea. Anything else, family? Hollow Earth says we are gods and goddesses. I love that. You're welcome, family. I really am getting tired. Appreciation to you too. You're welcome. Thank you, Mustang Sally. Thank you. I love you all so much. Sleep well. American State National Passport. I don't have any thoughts on that. I didn't want to do anything with my birth certificate, my passport. I'm waiting till the republic is formally announced that it's been restored. Because when you have a republic restored, then I don't think I have to go through all that. But no, I don't know anything. Maybe somebody in the chat. Yes, black means void, bleak, pale. And Taj Tariq Bey, who is he calls himself the Grand Sheik of the Moors, actually said that the status black was given to the people who came here because they didn't own land and they didn't have anything. And the status white was the status that was originally given to the Moors, but the powers that be changed the different statuses to confuse the people. And I appreciate that information. Where I am in my development right now, as Dr. Ray Hagins says, where I am in my development is that I'm all about love. I read your energy. What is your energy like? What is your soul like? What is your spirit like? Military is on the way, and the military is the only way. Oh, the military is the only way, and the military is in control. So, family, you're welcome. Rest well, family. Sleep well before you go to sleep. If you have something you've been thinking about, you're trying to solve a problem, you don't know how to solve it, you don't know what to do before you go to sleep at night, set an intention to work it out in your dream so that when you go to sleep, you'll have a dream about it or a vision about it, or you will work it out some kind of way. That's what the elders used to do. And that's why before they made a decision, they said, let me sleep on it. So set the intention that if you want to resolve an issue, that you'll resolve it tonight in your dreams. Yes, I love Dr. Ray Hagins too. We have a podcast and interview together that we did a couple years ago. I think it was 2019. No, it was 2020. It was like over 2 hours, but it's so packed with information. I will share that with you. You can email me at it's your first live. Yay! At Kia. You can just look at family. I'm going to sleep. So thirsty. Listen to music that's in 432 hertz. Thank you. I will do that tonight. I love you, family. Make it a great day on tomorrow. Rest well. Safe travels in your dream. You know how we astral project and we go and visit different places, visit different people. Some of y'all be making love to folks and stuff in y'all's dreams. So safe travels. I love you all. Word is zero type blood are galactic beings. A and AB are indigenous. All right. You solve your problems while sleeping. That's beautiful. I love you, family. Leave a comment in the comment section. Please remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, we're talking about the Moors or the indigenous people. Remember that Empress Verdiasi Gaston L. Turner Bay actually took the United States Corporation to court in the 1990s and said you all stole the land from the indigenous people and you owe them. The Louisiana purchase was not a purchase, but it was a theft. She took the allodial title to the land. She is kin to Noble Drew Ali. She proved that the land belonged to the indigenous people. They weren't expecting her to bring the allodial title. They looked at it, told her she was true. They tried to shoo her out of the court. I know people who went to court with her. They couldn't because she had the allodial title, which is the original title to the land. And she won her case and said that the people on the land will receive $85 quadrillion. But that money will not be disseminated until we are returned to the Republic and to the gold standard. At the same time, the farmers were taking the United States Corporation and the central banks to court. They won their case, and it was determined that the United States Corporation and the banking system committed fraud against the farmers, which is the backbone of this country because they feed us, and without them, we could not live. And they were committing usury and interest rate, exorbitant interest rate to central banks against the farmers, forcing them to plant certain seeds. And if they did it, they had their land confiscated, or they had their loans withdrawn, or they lost their lives. So they won their case. That case, the farmers' claims, led to the National Economic Security Reformation Act, also known as NESARA, and the global version, the Global Economic Security and Reformation Act, now known as GESARA. The stipulations of NESARA, GESARA being implemented is that once we return to the gold standard and the republic is returned, the farmers will be paid first because their claims led to NESARA and GESARA, and then we will be paid. All the debts of our countries will be paid. All the debts of the people, your bank loans, your student loans, your car loans, your mortgages, credit cards, everything will be paid in full for you. We will have a complete debt jubilee. Every human being on the planet will receive a significant amount of money, between $10,000 and $100,000 per month, in a non-interest bearing account for 11 years. So you won't have perpetual money. So when you get it, be a good steward over it, manage it wisely, meet with a wealth advisor, and get you some people who can help you invest that money, spend it wisely, and or create humanitarian projects. In addition to that, get you, if you are so inclined, some silver and gold. Contact Andy Scheckman, Andy at milesfranklin.com or info at milesfranklin.com. Ask him for an inventory list of all the goodies that he has, the silver and gold and the precious metals. He will answer any of your questions, which is good. You will have a one-on-one relationship with him and or a broker. Let him know Dr. Kia Pruitt referred you. You will get the best prices in the industry as promised by Andy Scheckman, and you will have wealth. In addition to that, if you're so inclined, get you some foreign currencies. We've talked about them all through the chat, family. We talked about Vietnamese dong, Zimbabwean zim, Iraqi dinar. What else? Indonesian rupiah, Indian rial, Indian rupee, Iranian rial, Venezuelan bolivar, Zimbabwean zim, and others. So when we return to the gold standard and a republic is announced and we have a global currency reset, all currencies will revalue based on the country's resources, and we'll get a wonderful return on our investment and use that money to help our brothers and sisters, to feed people, to take the homeless out off the streets and put them in homes. We'll create schools, we'll create farms, we'll do some amazing things, we'll clean the water. Family, this is a wonderful time to be alive, and you and I agreed to come here at this time to help, not only to witness it, but to help raise the vibrations of the planet and encourage each other to thrive, to live an abundant, magnificent, amazing life that we desire and deserve. Mwah. Yes, your I don't know about private loans. I only know about bank loans. I'm tired, family. Good night. Peace. You got any questions? Just simply leave them for me and we'll answer them later. See you sometime tomorrow. Bye.